Hello, everybody. Hey, my name is Mike Emard, and I'm here with my colleague, Will Grease. And we're both program managers on the Azure Files team. It's a fast-growing team. It's grown more than 10 times in the last 2 years, so I'm actually part of that growth. I started in February, even though I've been with Microsoft since 2006. Pretty new to Azure Files. We've been working on a lot of big things with all those people. A lot of the things were already in progress by the time I joined the team, but I get the honor of talking about a lot of them here at Ignite, so I'm very happy about that. So the Azure Files team's mission is really to enable you to move any on-premise share into the cloud. We never want you to be stalled in your cloud migrations because you can't get shares up into Azure. And you can see a lot of the things we'll talk about today are about expanding more and more scenarios where you can actually use Azure Files. So when you think about the different use cases where you might be able to use Azure Files, there's a few different categories. The first is general purpose file shares. Now there's two different flavors of this. One is you can just migrate an on-premise file share into the cloud, access that either within Azure or over SMB, over the internet. Another way, which a lot of people have been really excited about here at Ignite, is the hybrid cloud storage with Sync. So you can actually set up an on-prem Windows file server, install a file sync agent, and it'll keep Azure file share and on-prem agent in sync. Will's going to talk a lot about that, so I don't want to steal too much of his thunder. We'll move on to another scenario, which is about migrating on-premise applications to the cloud. Right, so if you have an app running on-prem today that uses an SMB share, you can just replace that on-premise share with an Azure file share, move your machines up into the cloud, and be up and running. Last but not least is developing cloud applications. So anytime you're working on a greenfield new application where you're going to have several machines that all need to access the same data, you should think about using Azure Files. Not only do we have an SMB protocol, but we also have a REST protocol as well. It's supported with a wide variety of client libraries. And with the performance improvements that we're going to talk about today, it can really support a wide range of applications. So now I'm going to talk for a minute about how Azure File Shares work. Well, first thing you do is create an Azure File Share, and I'm actually going to show you a demo of how easy that is. Once you have an Azure File Share created, of course, from within Azure, you can mount drives to that file share. You can use SMB for that, or you can use our REST API. Now, there's also a variety of ways you can connect to that Azure File Share from on-prem. So one is by SMB 3.0. Now, this is going to use port 445. So if you're at a coffee shop or something, you might see that that port is blocked. Another way is through our REST protocol. That uses port 443. And then there's the File Sync method. Now, File Sync uses that same REST protocol over 443. That on-prem file server is going to look and act just like a normal Windows file server. Many different client OS can connect in using SMB or NFS. AD works just like you expected it to. And it can sync all your data to that Azure File Share, and it can also be run in cache mode, where it just becomes a local cache. And again, I don't want to steal too much of Will's thunder. I'm excited about this, but I'll let him talk about it. All right, so the value proposition for Azure Files, why would you want to use it? First of all, it's very easily managed. So with just a few clicks or API calls, you can have Azure File Share up and running. It's got integrated snapshot capabilities, so you have all your backup taken care of. It's secure both in transit and at rest, so your data is always encrypted. It's cross-platform. You know, because it's SMB, you can mount those shares on Windows, Linux, Mac OS. Of course, you can use the REST protocol on any of these. A lot of people think that you know, we just concentrate on Windows, but we're actually very involved in making sure our SMB client works on Linux and Mac as well. You can see the Linux contributions to SMB client have been going up and up and up and up, and it's actually very active. And then there's hybrid. So I just showed you a whole bunch of ways to connect from on-prem into the cloud, including Azure File Sync, which just went GA back in July. Now, all these benefits I just talked about, these are all GA features that are available today. You can go out and use them. I'm going to switch gears a little bit now and talk about the things that are just coming out in preview. First is AD integration for Azure Files. So this is AD integration when you connect to that Azure File Share directly. If you're coming through Azure File Sync, you're still going to have your on-prem AD. If you go directly to the Azure File Share, now we have some AD integration there as well. Then scale. Azure Files has been 5 terabytes per share for a long time, and now we're scaling that up to 100 terabytes per share. and then performance. So we're making some significant performance improvements to standard Azure files, as well as introducing a whole new offering around premium files. Okay, now we're going to start getting into some details on some of these things, including some demos, and I'm going to give it to Will to start talking about File Sync.
Great, Mike, thank you. So on behalf of Mike and I, and the entire team really, I'm really excited to see so much enthusiasm in Azure Files, and we really feel like the investment that we've made in the last year sort of warrants some of that, and we're happy to show you what we have coming. So, as Mike said, talking about Azure File Sync. Azure File Sync was originally introduced to solve a concrete problem that we saw with cloud, which is basically the latency problem. The speed of light is just a fundamental construct of the universe, and when you think about the challenge of mounting a cloud file share from on-premises, that frequently comes into play and is definitely a concern for the users. So Azure File Sync is really our attempt to figure out how to solve this and do so in a way that we get the best of both worlds. You get the on-premises performance, and because the on-premises file server is right next to your data, right next to your users rather, and you get the cloud repository of the data. So let's take a look at how this works. So at its most basic, Azure File Sync is just sync between an on-premises Windows server and an Azure file share. But if that was all it was, it frankly wouldn't be all that interesting. So really, the really cool feature with Azure File Sync is what we call cloud tiering. And cloud tiering is the thing that makes the cache work. Basically, what we do is we watch the file usage on your server as your users are using the data, and see what is being used very frequently and is therefore hot, and see what is not being used frequently and is therefore cold. And for that cold data, we tier it out to Azure. So let's take a quick look at what that looks like. So I have here an Azure File Sync storage sync service on a sync group that I've called Project X. And basically, the sync group is just the fundamental relationship between an Azure file share and the server endpoints, the Windows servers that make up this sync partnership. So you'll see here that I have 2 Windows servers, and I have the Azure file share, which I called Project X. And here's my data set. So I have this deep folder of data, and I have a video file here. So if I right-click on it and select Properties, I can actually see that this data isn't entirely on disk. In fact, it's mostly not on disk. So I watched a little bit of this video file before the presentation, so I've recalled a little bit. But I'll show you here that when I actually go into this file and double-click and open it, I get Windows Media Player, and it will start downloading the file even more right as I'm watching it. So here's the video, and you see that little streaming indicator icon over on the left-hand corner there. And I can just page through this video, and as I do that, you get this little indicator. So this is all happening real time. It's very smooth, as you can see. It's just the kind of experience that you would expect from any video streaming. And this happens with multiple different file types. Any video file type, any file reader that can just read chunks of the file at a time. So I'll right-click on this file again, and what you see is that I've actually recalled about 8 more megabytes of this file as I watched it. So that's exactly what I expected to happen, and if I watched the whole video start to finish, I would end up recalling the entire file. So the next important feature of Azure File Sync is something that we call multi-site sync. So this enables me to establish these fast caches of my data in as many places I want to. So in this particular example, I have a branch office in New York, and I want it to have the same set of data that I have in my headquarters in Seattle. And I just want to take a brief moment to point out that this is just a regular Windows file server. Aside from the Azure File Sync agent, there's nothing special about this. It's just a regular Windows file server. So I can use all of the applications that I know and love on Windows Server. So for example, work folders, I can use the SMB protocol, the NFS protocol, anything that Windows supports I can pretty much use. And that has a great value of being able to make use of your scripts and your applications that you've written and whatever that have built up over the last 20 years of having file servers. They all will just work against your file share without any changes. So let's take a look at how the multi-site sync portion works. So let me go back to my demo machine here. So you see here I have this same Project X folder. And if I click into it, you can actually see it's the same data set that I had before, demo directory, and there's that file. So now let's change something and show how this works. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to go into the security, and I'm going to actually set an ACL on this. So I'm going to pick on my manager, Ong, who's sitting in the front row there, and I'm going to go ahead and restrict what he can do with this particular file. So I'll verify this is his alias, and then I'm actually going to go ahead and remove all the abilities except for just read. So sorry, Ong. And now if I flip back to this other machine, you can actually see in real time the sync happen. So okay, I open this file, and the ACL hasn't been populated yet. Usually this takes about 15 to 20 seconds, so let me just try one more time. And when I click on properties, lo and behold, there it is. So you can actually see that exactly the ACL that I set, it has been synced from both the original server to the new server. And I'll add here that this happens with any file type that you would use. Or, sorry, with any part of the file that you would use. So the file stream, other attributes of the data, and so on. And because we have that deep copy of the data in Azure, we can actually light up a fantastic rapid file server feature. So imagine, for example, that a solar ray hits your data center and hits your file server that has all of your data on it, and it goes away. So in the past, this was a huge disaster. You had to go back and restore from backup, and this was a lengthy process. You had to inform your users that the file server's down and you're bringing it back up. And now with Azure File Sync, you can just quickly get a new server, bring it in, and lo and behold, there is the entire set of data. And what we actually do is we leverage that cloud tiering feature. So we're actually just bringing down tiered files rather than bringing down the entire namespace, the entire file's content, so that you can actually, as soon as you have that server all configured up, you can hand it out to your end users. And as they use it, it'll pull down the data on demand. So this is really, really a powerful thing. So let me do a quick demo of that as well. So I'll switch back to my demo machine. And what I'm going to do here is I have a folder that's not syncing to this machine. I'm just going to simulate a disaster. So I called this share final videos. And if I flip to my other machine, you will be able to see, here's my final video share, and I have some data in it. And then what I'll do is I'll flip to the other sync group that I have within the storage sync service object. So I have a final videos, aptly named. And I will go into the server endpoint creation dialog here, and I will add, for this registered server, this is my 2012 R2 server, here's the path. And I will enable cloud tiering because that's a really awesome feature. And now when I create this, I can see in real time exactly how long this takes. So it's starting to create. Let's switch back to my other server. There's the final videos folder, and there's all the content. So if I click on one of these files, no data's on disk at this point. I can actually show you how seamlessly this works. And there goes the file. It's pulling down the data just as before. It's happening in real time, just as you expect. So this is really powerful that you don't have to deal with all the outage. You can just immediately provision a new server, and you're ready to go. So one other thing that I wanted to mention, as Mike said, the Azure File Share is a full SMB file share in Azure. So this means that you can actually mount this share and use it. And so I was talking to a customer just last week that said to me, hey, Will, can I, I have some analytics workloads that I want to spin up in an Azure VM, and then I want to, talk to my file share, see who's modified what file in the last period of time and what changes have been made, and then actually store that in a database for reporting purposes. Can I do that in Azure, or do I have to do this on-prem? And the answer is you can go ahead and do it in Azure. Just spin up the VMs while you're running your workload, and then when you're done, you can turn off those machines and you don't get charged for them. So it really goes to the whole value of cloud, that you have this elasticity on demand, talking to your data set just as you want it. The other point that I want to make here is that we have integration with Azure Backup. So this means that you can actually start to think about getting rid of your on-premises backup solutions and moving to a cloud-centric backup. Because after all, your on-premises file servers, they don't have the full copy of the data anymore. It's accessible to the users, but you don't really want to be backing up from on-premises. You'd much rather back up from the cloud where you have the entire copy of the data. So we've had some great adoption here in the period since we've gone GA and in the period that we were in preview. But we definitely have had a few questions come up in the course of our product being released, and I wanted to just quickly talk about some of the things that we've heard from you and how we've taken that feedback and put it into the product. So one of the things that we heard is, although sync usually just works, occasionally there are issues where Azure File Share fills up, or somebody's accidentally deleted the Azure File Share, and in our initial offering of the product, it was a little bit difficult to figure out what was going on. So what we've done is you can see in the portal here, I have this handy little error message, and if I were to click this, you would actually see this new panel that we've just added to the portal, and you'll see the issue that I'm having. In this case, I've filled up my file share to the max, and then it gives some remediation steps. So it's really crystal clear exactly what I'm expected to go do with this. And of course, this problem gets much easier with some of the large file share capabilities that Mike will talk about in a few minutes. But in general, this is a very big improvement for folks that don't have to call us anymore. It's easy to go fix these issues, and it tells you right what you need to do. The next thing I want to point out is that we've improved our ability to interop with antivirus and other kinds of products that might be enumerating the file system. So to explain exactly what I mean, imagine I have this set of data here, and some of it's tiered. So you see those files are now grayed out. That's actually the behavior that you get in File Explorer, by the way. So they have the offline attribute set. That's what makes them gray. And then I run my antivirus. And so I'm scanning a set of data. And what you'll actually see is that many antivirus products, because they're reading the entire file, will actually start to recall data. So this is obviously very undesirable because it causes unwanted egress costs, and it fills up the data disk, and it's just not good from anybody's perspective. So what we've gone and done is we've worked with our friends in Windows, and here's my view of the attributes that exist on the file system. So you might think antivirus should look at this offline attribute, but there's a very good reason why antivirus vendors don't want to look at the offline attribute. And that's because anybody can go set it. So like I said, we've worked with our friends in Windows and the larger antivirus community. And we've snapped to the new attribute in Windows called data will be recalled on read. There's also another one, data will be recalled on access. And basically what this does is a secure attribute, meaning that it can only be set from inside the Windows kernel. So antivirus vendors can trust it, because in order to be set from inside the kernel, you would have had to have permission from the user at some point to do this from an administrator. So we set this property within our Azure File Sync filter, file system filter, I should say, and antivirus vendors can actually read it and trust that it is set by us. And I want to add that we're actually virtualizing this attribute such that even though this attribute is only available for the first time in Windows Server version 1709, it's actually going to be available on 2012 R2 and 2016 too. That's because when you list the attributes that exist on the file system, we'll actually smartly return that attribute in as part of what's returned. So just use any antivirus product. I think we work with the top 300, which is amazing to me that there are even that many antivirus products in the world. I didn't even know that until recently. This is a very transformational thing that we've added. And the final thing I want to highlight, and by the way, this is far from the only feature that we've put into the, only 3 features that we put into the product since we've gone GA and since we've started our initial preview, is the new date time policy that we've added. So basically what this does is it gives me some certainty around why my files are tiered. I simply specify when I want the files to be tiered. In this case, I've said tier files older than 30 days, and those files will be tiered. This is in contrast to what we've had historically, which is a volume free space policy. So I specify how much I want to reserve on the volume to keep free, and Azure File Sync makes it happen. So this gives me some predictability about why a file is not tiered. And I also want to point out that we are very excited to be launching at Ignite here a partnership with one of our valued vendors, DataOn. They have this very, very cool product called Kepler 47, which is a 2-node storage spaces direct system that's really optimized for a branch office. And specifically what I mean by that is, you can't really tell from the image that I have here, but these are very small devices. So we can actually think of these as, and I should say we've actually done this, putting them in the overhead bin on your airplane. That's how small they are. So it's the right kind of footprint for a branch office. Put these under someone's desk. You have the redundancy right there on premises to be able to handle, let's say, loss of a disk outage. And it's super simple to integrate with Azure File Sync. And I want to add one other thing here. There's a lot more coming here in the future, not just with DataOn. We're working with multiple partners. And so we're really trying to fill this need of, hey, I've been using NAS appliances forever, and Windows Server is not too hard to set up, but I really just like the experience that I bought a pre-built thing, put it under someone's desk or put it under, in a closet or a lab somewhere, and I just, set it and forget it. So that's the kind of experience that we're looking to go solve here. All right, so now I want to pivot and talk about one of our new features, integration with Azure Active Directory. So today, Azure Files supports the very simple integration with authentication. Specifically, we allow you to authenticate to your file share with a storage account key. So this makes perfect sense for these applications where I just have something running that needs some storage, and I provision a VM, and then I provision a file share, and I can just, it's an admin sort of operation to set up. But what we've heard very clearly from you is that that doesn't work for scenarios where you want to actually have users talking to the file share, because you can't trust a user with a storage account key. After all, it's an admin password, basically, super admin password to the storage account. So we've gone and we've integrated with Azure Active Directory. So I want to just take a brief aside and walk you through the landscape of Active Directory and sort of hopefully disambiguate a few things. I'm wondering what that horn out in the back is. We have the classic classic Active Directory that everyone's familiar with on Windows. You have your domain controller in your data center, and you can do simple domain joins of servers or of user workstations, and it's this thing that you've sort of known and loved for the last however many, 15, 20 years. We also have Azure Active Directory. So Azure Active Directory is our software as a service offering of Active Directory. It's built to be scalable in the cloud, and it offers some additional functionality that doesn't exist Active Directory. So the big thing that I want to point out here is that it has OAuth for your cloud applications. And of course, you can also do domain join in the form of cloud domain join with Azure Active Directory. The final piece, and the really important one from an Azure Files perspective, is Azure Active Directory domain services. This is basically a hosted version of the Active Directory that exists within Windows in Azure. So we'll spin up VMs for you, but you don't ever see the VMs. You don't have to maintain them. You don't have to update them. You don't have to worry when they go down. Microsoft does all of that. But it's not really an independent offering. It's actually just slaved to the Azure Active Directory. And specifically, the reason that this is important is because that whole bubble there on the right, the dotted line, that is sort of an equivalent product to what we have on-prem. And so as we think about how we integrate with Azure Active Directory, I want to just make the point that there is one very important piece that's missing today, and that's the trust relationship between the cloud side and the on-prem side. So we have a great solution with Azure Active Directory, and I'll show you how this works now. All right, so here's a demo machine I have, and this has been domain joined to an Azure Active Directory instance. You'll see that I have a user here, and it has a very real username, testuser11. So I think this is what you'd expect in a real environment, right? So I'll actually just paste in my netuse command. This is an Azure file share. And you'll notice that I don't have any storage account key in the mix. So I've mounted the share with my Windows credentials, and it works just as I would expect from on-premises. So let me navigate to this Z drive, and let me list the files that are listed here. So you'll see I have 3 files. And I'd like to actually see the permissions now that we have permissions from Azure Active Directory on the files. So I'll use this icackles command, and I will list out the permissions that exist on this file. So you'll see that I have 3 user groups here, and my user account, testuser11, is actually a member of these user groups, or at least one of them. So if I go onto this share, and I open this file, just as I would expect, the file opens. All right, so let me interrogate one of these other files. I'll run my handy icackles command again, and I'll try the sample Python script that I have. So you'll see that this time I'm listed explicitly on the file's access control list. And if I go in over to my sample and I open it, just as I expect, it works as well. All right, so let me try something a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to go interrogate the final file that I have here, production.py. And what you'll see is that access is denied. And that's because this user account, this testuser11, doesn't have permissions to list the attributes of this file, to open this file, to read this file, to do anything with it. So likewise, if I go over to the file share, I open the production, you'll see that the access is again denied. So this works exactly the way that I expect. Now you may have noticed that I'm actually using the icackles command instead of right-clicking on the file and opening up the properties. This is because we're missing a feature in Azure Files. And to that point, we will add this as we go on. So we're not done with our integration. We're just starting our preview. So our initial preview is focused around lifting and shifting line of business applications. So this is sufficient, we believe. We'd love to hear from you. For, I have an application that needs some permissions. I'll move those permissions to Azure, and then I'm just going to let it run. Users will come in, I'll use their user context, whatever, and it will work as expected. But there's a lot that's missing here. So namely, we're only at the first part of our preview supporting Windows. Linux is coming in a refresh. Likewise, from an Azure File Sync perspective, we're not storing the ACLs on the files today. So this is also coming in a preview refresh. And then the final piece that ties it all together is the trust relationship like I described earlier. This feature is also coming. And so what you'll see when we have this feature is now the entire scenario is complete. It doesn't matter if I'm using Azure File Sync, if I'm not using Azure File Sync. It doesn't matter if I'm using Windows or Linux or Mac. If I mount the file share with a user account, the permissions will be enforced no matter where I am. Mounted on Azure, from an Azure File Sync server, it's enforced. Mounted on the Azure File Share, it's also enforced. So that's the roadmap for this feature, and these things will be coming in a refresh later this year, early next year. All right, so I want to make one aside before I hand over to Mike to talk about some of the cool new features that we have in the Azure Files platform. So we've heard very clearly from you over the last 3 or 4 years of the Azure Files product being available in market that one of the things that has blocked you from being able to use Azure Files in a greater way is the ability to have port 445 open. So from our perspective, this is wholly reasonable, right? Everyone has heard of these SMB attacks that people have lost data. There's WannaCry, there's many, many more. But from our perspective, when we look at these are all affecting SMB1. And so blocking 445, it's potentially a handy way to do it, but there's nothing really special about port 445. It's just a port. Any software can use ports, and any port can be used to do potentially bad things. So really, we think the right way to secure your environments is to focus on removing SMB1 rather than blocking versions of SMB like SMB3, which we consider to be internet secure. I want to point out, SMB1, this protocol was made in like the 1980s. Nobody had internet on their workstations. It wasn't designed to be hardened against the internet. So in Windows, I believe since Windows Server 2012 R2, we've given you the ability to disable SMB1 when it's been enabled. So you'll see in the remove dialog for Server Manager that I have the ability to uncheck SMB1, both the client and the server independently. But we've also now given you the ability to remove it on Linux. So on the right, I have a little screenshot from the terminal within Ubuntu, where I have a pre-release version of the kernel installed that has the new feature to disable SMB1. So when you've done this, then you can start to think about how do I mount my Azure File Share from on-premises. All right, so I'm going to pass back to Mike, and he's going to talk to you about some exciting features in Scale and Perf.
All right, thanks, Will. All right, so I'm going to talk about scale and performance. Premium file shares was actually the first feature I had when I moved onto the team, so excited to talk about this. First, let's get a baseline of where Azure Files is today. So before any of these performance improvements that we're talking about, Azure Files is going to have double-digit millisecond latency. We're at 1,000 IOPS per share, 60 megabytes per second of throughput per share, and 5 terabyte shares. All right, so let's reveal what we're doing for performance improvements for standard. Latency is going to be about the same, but we're actually going to see 10 times more IOPS, 10,000 IOPS per share, going up to 300 megabytes per second in throughput, and scaling from 5 terabytes up to 100 terabytes per share. All right, so those are some pretty significant changes, and I want to talk for a second about how we did that. Just kind of give you a sneak peek under the hood at what's going on. Now, Azure Files has multiple layers in the architecture here, so I'm going to kind of oversimplify this a little bit. But you can think of, in the past, that one file share was going to be managed by one server. Now, everything is built for HA, and that server can move around. But at any given point, there was one server that was managing requests for that file share. So what would happen is if a lot of IOs came in, we would start throttling IOs to meet that single server limit. And we've spent a lot of time re-architecting the system to be totally scalable. And now, rather than having to throttle, we actually can start splitting across multiple servers. Right? So we can just partition that share across as many servers as we need to. Right? It doesn't matter if it's IOPS or throughput or just scale in terms of number of files. Any resource constraint that we would have hit on a single server, we can now just partition out. All right, so now this is a truly distributed architecture. We think this is going to scale well beyond these first set of numbers that I was showing. This is just a starting point. All right, so now let's reveal what the numbers look like for premium. All right, so for premium, first of all, we're really improving the latency here. This is going to be single-digit millisecond latency. Right, we're going up another 10 times in IOPS, up to 100,000 IOPS for a single share, and throughput up to 5 gigabytes per second of throughput. Right, and again, we can have 100 terabyte share size as premium as well. Now, let's talk a little bit more about premium. So premium is all built on SSD hardware. That's how we're getting these like really low latencies. It's the same REST and SMB protocol as standard Azure Files. So you can create a premium share or a standard share and interact with them the exact same way. There's going to be predictable billing. All right, we know that we're building this for situations where there's going to be a lot of transactions, really high IOPS. We don't want people to worry about what their bill is going to be. So we picked a model where it's just a flat per gigabyte price. Now you're probably asking what the price is going to be. We're not announcing the price today. That'll come very soon. But I want you to know that performance is going to be tied to capacity. So what that means is the bigger share you create, the more IOPS and the more throughput you're going to get. All right? So you're going to be able to burst up to 3 IOPS per gigabyte for 60 minutes with a baseline IOPS of 1 IOP per gigabyte. And your throughput's going to start out at 100 megabytes a second. You get an additional 0.1 megabyte per second per gigabyte that you provision. So let's just take an example of what that is. So for example, if you create a 5,000 gigabyte share, approximately 5 terabytes, you're going to get 15,000 IOPS, and you're going to get 600 megabytes per second. All right, so now we're going to switch into demo mode. So first, I want to show you standard Azure Files today. And this demo really has 2 purposes. One, I want to show you how quick and easy it is to set up an Azure File Share. And then I'm going to introduce you to IO meter, which probably a lot of you have seen before, but we're going to use that to measure the IOPS and the throughput of the standard share, and then we'll compare that to premium. All right. Okay, so here we are in the Azure portal. The first thing I need to do is create a storage account. So I go up to create resource, create a storage account. Here we go. There's only a few things we need to fill in here. I'm going to pick my resource group. Give it a name. And I'm going to put it in the same region as the VM that we're going to be testing from. And then just click create. All right, now this can take like 30 or 40 seconds to create, so I'm going to do like a baking show here and jump to a storage account that I already have created. So we're jumping into the storage account here. And now there's a file section. We click there. And I already have one file share created, but I'm just going to show you how quick it is to create a share. Simple as giving it a name and a quota. File share creation is very quick, and you can create as many as you want. Now you can see we have this nice connect option here. So we're going to connect to the share that was already created. Now this is just showing you a script to mount the drive. So we can pick a drive letter here. And I'm going to copy this PowerShell script. I'm using PowerShell because I'm on a Windows machine, but you can see there's a script down there for Linux too. All right, now I'm going to paste this PowerShell script in here. All right, and you can see that share popped right up. So that was as easy as can be. We're already in this Azure File Share. It was an existing one, so I already have some files there. I'm just going to create a new file just to show you it's working. Save that. Okay, there we go. All right, so now I'm going to get this stuff out of the way, and we're going to actually demo IO meter to measure the IOPS and throughput of this standard file share. So remember, this is before any of the performance improvements. All right, so I had mounted the S drive, so I am going to point IO meter at the S drive. Okay. Now we're picking the I/O size that we're going to use here. All right, now I'm just going to set the results display to update every few seconds. All right, I'm going to run the test. All right, we should be seeing about 1,000 IOPS here because this is the standard Azure file share today. All right, so there you go. There's the 1,000 IOPS for standard Azure files. And we'll show the bandwidth as well. All right, so there we go. So 60 megabytes per second, just like I said. All right, so now let's stop this. We're going to switch over to premium file shares. All right, so this is a 5 terabyte premium file share. This is that exact example I mentioned before. We should be able to see 15,000 IOPS and 600 megabytes per second of throughput. First, I'm just showing you a screenshot here. So if you get into the preview program for premium files, the only difference between it and standard as far as the API and configuration is the type of account you create. So you can see here, we're just creating a premium file storage account. All right, I'm going to skip that because I already just showed it to you for standard. We're going to jump to a VM that has a premium share mounted. All right, so let's go look at the share. It's a 5 terabyte share on drive N, and I already have I/O meter pointing to drive N here. All right, we're using 4K I/O size to start. Okay, it just takes a second to get warmed up. All right, there you go. 15,000 IOPS, quite an improvement. And look at this latency too, down to 2 milliseconds of latency. All right, now the throughput is low because we're using such low, small I/O sizes. I'm going to switch this to the larger I/O size, and we should be able to get 600 megabytes per second. All right, we got more. All right, there you go. So there's the premium file share. That's a 5 terabyte premium file share. Okay, let's switch. Okay, now one more demo for you. Now we're going to switch benchmarking tools. We're going to switch from I/O meter to VD bench. It doesn't just work with one benchmark tool. It can work with I/O meter, VD bench, your application. We're going to jump right in here. So in this case, I've mounted the X drive to a premium file share that's 100 terabytes. So let's go look at this X drive. Okay, so this is a 100 terabyte share, so we're going to be able to sustain 100,000 IOPS. All right, so the way we've configured this VD bench tool to work is actually to send I/O from 10 different machines. So this machine is going to control the test, but it's actually going to go talk to 10 other machines using a bunch of 128 megabyte files. We have 2 different workloads defined here. The first uses 512K I/O, and this is to be able to show you the max throughput. And then we have another test defined here using 4K I/O, and this is really to show you the high IOPS and the lower latency. Okay, now we got these 2 tests defined here. I've commented out the high throughput test. We're going to run the high IOPS test. Okay, remember this is going across 10 different machines and telling them all to start running. It's compiling all the results. If you look at the third column over, requested IOPS, it took a little bit to warm up, but quickly gets right up near that 100,000 mark. Now I specifically set this test up to not hit the 100,000 mark in this first test because I wanted to show you this consistent low latency. Now what happens when you start going up above 100,000, the system is going to try to keep you down at that 100,000 mark, and you'd see some variability in the latency here. I will show you that in a minute, but first I wanted to show you very consistent low latency all the way up to that 100,000 mark. I'm going to highlight where we were here. So you can see average of 98,000 IOPS and 1.6 milliseconds of latency. All right, we'll clear that out. All right, now we're going to switch and do the throughput test. So we're going to go back into the configuration file and just uncomment out the throughput, comment out the high IOPS test. Okay. Now remember, the difference here is we're using that larger I/O size. We're going to be able to get more throughput. If you look at the column all the way to the right, or second to the last from the right, it says megabytes per second total. So across all the 10 VMs, we are able to achieve this 5 gigabytes per second. All right. So in case you missed where that was, here it is. Right there in the megabytes per second total. All right. All right, so we're going to do one final test here, just so that I can make sure I show you actually 100,000 IOPS. And so what we're going to do is we're going to run the IOPS test again, but I'm going to go and increase the number of threads that one of these machines is using to hit the system. And so what you're going to see here is you're going to see it go up to the 100,000 IOPS mark. The system's going to introduce some latency. We don't want to start dropping IOs, right? So the way we handle when the system gets pushed beyond its limits is we start introducing some latency into some of the requests. All right, so here we go. It hit the 100,000. You'd get a little more latency. VD bench will eventually settle down, and we'll start to get consistent right around 100,000. There we go, 99, 99, 99. All right. There it is, 100,000 IOPS. All right, so you might be wondering, like, when can you start trying all this stuff? So the premium file shares up to 5 terabytes is available now. I have a list of regions up here, and there's a link here you can actually sign up for the preview program. The standard file share performance improvements, including the scale improvements of going up to 100 terabytes for both standard and premium, that's going to be rolled out in November. But we have this sign-up sheet available now, so you can go get signed up for that preview program as well. Now I'm just going to go over some key takeaways here, and then we'll have a Q&A session. All right, so first of all, you can extend your on-premise file share, extend your on-premise file share into Azure using Azure File Sync. You know, you move the core of your Azure file from on-prem into the cloud, and you can still get the best of both worlds. You get your on-prem performance and the cloud scale economics offsite backup. You can replace your on-premise file share with Azure Files. So if you have that application workload, even if it needs a high number of IOPS now, you can just lift and shift that up into the cloud. You can participate in previews for AD, perf improvements, and scale. And you know, if you go use those previews or if you use Azure Files at all, please give us feedback. There's a link to our feedback forum up there. And this email address that I'm giving you, this is a direct line to the product team. Will and I and a lot of the other folks on the team check this every single day. So please get in touch with us. And thank you very much for listening. I really appreciate you coming to the session. Yeah, sure will. Well, you know what? I'll put that up for a quick second so you can take a picture. And then I'm going to move it to the eval.
So we'll stay as long as you guys would like to take questions. I know there are always lots of very interesting questions, so we're excited to hear what you guys have to say.
Well, I got a question here on the right side for you.
Okay, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about sync and merge conflicts that you can get if you sync through everything?
Sure. You want to take that one?
Sure, I can take it, yeah.
Okay.
So the question was about merge conflicts. So this happens when we have multiple Azure File Sync servers, and you have a user that opens a file on the first one, opens a file on the second one, and makes conflicting changes. What happens? So at the highest level, what happens is that you end up having a conflict file, and you have a winner and a loser. So the winner is always the last writer, but unlike something like, let's say, DFSR or other replication solutions, we keep the loser file in the namespace. So it's a user solvable conflict. And as we go forward, we're looking at various ways that we can improve this experience. So things like distributed file locking, et cetera. So we'd be very interested to hear your feedback on how we can help you make this easier.
Okay, why don't we start here?
Yeah.
Hi. Yeah, scenario I have is, in addition to having branch offices where I can hook the file share into, a client has many mobile workers as well. A number of them run into the 445 issue. So one answer would be just to give them Azure Storage Explorer, but for a fellow who's out in the field selling trucks, that's not the nicest solution. What other alternative do I have right now for somebody who's carrying around Windows 10 to get around 445?
Sure. So one of the options is, because the Azure File Sync is just a normal Windows file server, you can use things like work folders to be able to have people sync to their remote devices that way.
While they're in the field, then they would be syncing from their laptop to the on-premise.
To the on-premise server, that's right.
Yeah, and just to be clear, because it's very, very interesting technology that not everybody has probably seen. Work folders is a sync technology that exists within Windows that allows you to sync to people's client devices. So starting with, I believe, Windows Client 1804 or 1803, we have the ability to do the on-demand, work folders on-demand feature, such that it's integrated directly into Windows, very similar to how OneDrive is.
Yep. Okay. We'll take Red.
So at GA, will this support things like file level auditing, or is that on the roadmap? So for auditing, generating an audit event for reads or changes or permissions changes.
Now to clarify, you're asking about Azure Active Directory integration, right?
Well, so I've got the need where I've got file services that I've got to audit. So I need to know when people touch the files. I need to know when security is changed on the files, when the ACLs change.
So with respect to, if you're using Azure File Sync, you have all the capabilities that Windows has. So you can enable this kind of auditing on Windows.
If
Now,
they're coming in through the Windows side, what if they're coming in from the Azure File side?
So the general assumption is, in most cases, that you're going to be coming in from the Windows side. At this point, we would actually, if you're coming in from the Azure side to do more than just reading, the recommendation from us would be to deploy a Azure VM and use File Sync. You don't have to provision very much storage because the VM there is right next to the storage, right next to the file share, I mean. So the reason we say this is because right now, there's a missing feature within Azure Files. It's called change tracking. So if you change a file on the file share, we have to enumerate the file share every so often. Right now we do a 24-hour period to find those changes. So that's why I say if you're actually doing serious work against the file share in the cloud from an Azure File Sync perspective, you should probably just go deploy a VM.
So
But we want to change this in the future. This is a evolving product, so it's not said and done. We're very excited about trying to change that feature.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So my scenario is I have legacy file shares in my data center. I'm trying to get rid of my data center. So I've got these file shares which have thousands and thousands of files with all kinds of permissions on them. I want to move those up into the cloud.
Yeah.
It sounds like I can't do that because that's not really what Azure file shares are. So is there a solution model around somebody who wants to get rid of that?
That's because you want to continue to access the files from on-prem, right, and use your AD credentials and permissions and all that.
I don't care about AD credentials. I can use Azure AD credentials.
Yep.
But I've got thousands of files with thousands of different permissions.
Yeah.
And those permissions are not Azure AD people. They are on-prem legacy AD people. And I don't even know who owns most of the stuff.
That's part of our goal with the AD integration, and we're not quite there yet, as Will mentioned. So what we want to do is eventually have a trust relationship between on-prem AD and Azure AD. And then once that's established, you can move all your files up into the cloud, and all those ACLs and permissions will continue to be there. And somebody who's accessing those files from an on-premise domain joined machine will still enforce all those things.
And to be very clear, and I think Mike basically hit the nail on the head, this is what we intend to have in the product in the very near future. We have a preview. We put the preview out with some limitations, as previews often have. So we're very excited to hear your feedback about that. And we take it seriously that we need to continue doing this work and make it work for that scenario.
Okay, thanks.
Isn't that included in the AADDS refresh that's coming?
Yeah, so the question was, isn't that included in the AAD refresh that's coming? The answer is yes. The specific time frame of when Azure Active Directory Domain Services will release that feature, I couldn't say. We'll get you the information as soon as we can release it. Yeah, the point, obviously lots of folks want to get rid of their on-prem AD. We hear that a lot. So we'll make sure to put that feedback through to the AAD and the AADDS teams.
Thank you.
In the scenario that you use to replicate to the cloud, the on-premises file server to the cloud, is there any way, or does this technology use any mechanism to save bandwidth, like deduplication?
So right now, the answer is no. We're looking at ways how we can optimize data transfer. And so I'd be very interested to talk to you offline about what kinds of things that you might think would be interesting here.
Thank you.
One thing we do have there is like the bandwidth control. So you can set rules
that's
as
a good
to like
point.
when you use so much bandwidth. So only use a lot of bandwidth in the evenings when nobody's working and things like that, if bandwidth is a concern for you. Go ahead.
With a greenfield deployment in Azure, let's say, can we do, with the current integration with AD Directory Services, can we do profile shares for RDS and so forth?
Yeah, that's one of the test cases that we've been going through. That's right. So you should be able to deploy that type of solution.
Yes, that's supported.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And that's a very interesting scenario for us because that goes right to this point of, I want to get rid of my on-prem AD. I want to get rid of a lot of my on-prem infrastructure. That's like one of our top scenarios from being a first-class citizen.
Good. Over here again? Okay, sure, yeah.
Oh, does File Sync do all the attributes like SID history?
Sorry, can you repeat that last bit?
SID history.
SID history.
Is that also in the file that is being sent to Azure?
So I'd be honest, I don't know off the top of my head about SID history.
That is when you have multiple domains, and inside of the file is the history of the SIDs, like for authentication. And when you do one domain to another domain, you keep that alive, and then after a while you do something with it. Just not to.
Yeah, the scenario makes perfect sense. I apologize, I just don't know off the top of my head. So.
Well, that's why my question first was, does it take all the attributes of the file? Because if that's true, then probably that's in there as well, maybe?
So we do not take all of the attributes of the file. So for example, we have in NTFS alternate data streams. We do not sync these today between NTFS and Azure Files because Azure Files itself does not support alternate data streams. So we have a list on our documentation of what we do and do not support. I believe there is a limit on the size of the ACL that we will sync. This is something that we are looking at improving on, especially in light of the fact that we now have the ability to store ACLs on the file with the new integration that we've done. So we can find the very specific answer to your direct question, but then also I'm very interested to talk offline about how we can improve this and make the scenario better for you.
Thanks.
Let's go back over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, is is that compatible with seeding the data to the cloud instead of setting up file sync and doing all of the replication over the internet?
Yeah, great question. So we have a feature coming out in the very near future that will allow you to do exactly this. So you may have seen on the expo floor, they have the data box and the data box heavy. It's a pretty cool technology. If you haven't had a chance to see it yet, please go before the event tonight and take a look because it's very, very cool. So what we've actually have planned is the ability to have a second file share that you'll import the data into and then reference that when you set up sync so that it's very efficient at being able to resolve those, like you don't have to have like conflicts where things have changed or things haven't changed, that kind of thing. So the answer is it's coming very soon.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, Will, I just want to make sure it's clear. That's like a totally seamless experience that Will just talked about.
Yes.
You can keep your on-prem file server running and then use a data box to seed the majority of the data in the background. And then it'll automatically sync the changes and you don't have to do any downtime.
Yep, that's a great point.
Right.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. I wanted to ask about shadow copy support, and if it's there, what are the limits and capabilities?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it is there, so you can do VSS snapshots of your NTFS volume that has server endpoints on it. If you're, for example, not using cloud tiering, no issues, works perfectly. If you are using cloud tiering and you take a snapshot and then you delete that tiered file, that deletion will be synced to the cloud, and eventually that snapshot of the file in the cloud will also be cleaned up. So now you have in your snapshot on-prem a tiered file pointing to a snapshot in Azure Files doesn't exist anymore.
I see.
So that's not a great place to be. In the short term, that's where we are.
Okay.
We are looking at multiple ways that we can fix this. And this is like breadth and depth of the product. Like this is, you know, the fit and finish that you go through when you release something new. So this feature is coming and how we're working right now on how we improve this.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hi, so we've had a lot of success driving our users into using OneDrive for their files. And it's been kind of a goal of ours to work towards eliminating file shares. But obviously we still have them, and you know, this technology is great. I know it's kind of a long shot, but is there any chance of a future where you could mount an Azure Files directory in a OneDrive client?
That's an interesting question. Let's talk offline.
Over here.
Yeah, actually I have two questions. I know that during the preview of the Azure File Sync that it will not support dedupe volume. Has that restriction been removed?
Yeah, to
The
clarify
second
exactly what we meant by do not support, Azure File Sync works fine with deduplication from the perspective of it's not going to corrupt data, it's not going to cause any issues, it will continue to work. The reason we say we don't recommend to run deduplication when you're using sync is because we assume most customers want to run cloud tiering. Cloud tiering and data deduplication are very fundamentally similar technologies. In fact, it was the same team that built both. They're built in, they're sort of share code between the two. And the way that it works is when we when we make a file tiered, or we make a file deduped, what we're actually doing is we're laying what we call reparse point. This is a feature of NTFS, which is basically a pointer, and it has some data inside of it. So for dedupe, this tells me which chunks make up the file in the deduplication chunk store. For Azure File Sync, it tells me where I need to go, which Azure file share I need to go to get the data, what the path is to that file, whatever. So now the reason that we say that they don't work together is because as part of the sort of fit and finish of the product, we prevent other file system filters in both products from being able to modify the reparse point. So dedupe would prevent Azure File Sync from converting a file from being a deduped file to being a tiered file. So we have done a lot of work on this, and in the next version of the agent, not the version that we have coming out within the next week or so, but the version 5 of the agent, we will have dedupe support where we actually have solved that particular issue. So you can use dedupe and you can use Azure File Sync together. Now it works perfectly. I just want to stress, it works perfectly. Nothing bad is going to happen. It's just that if a file is deduped, it won't be tiered.
See, Will used to work on dedupe as well, so that's why you get all the details.
Yeah, I have a lot of deep background there. Happy to answer more questions offline.
Do you know the GA for that?
The GA for what?
Or dedupe support.
The support on.
So we'll have that in version 5 of our agent. That'll come out around the end of the year, early next year, depending on timelines.
Okay, just one more question.
Sure.
Is Azure File Share support conditional access? Can you put conditional access?
Conditional access, that's a great question. Not today, and I'd love to hear more about what you'd like to do with that.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Yes, you showed on your slide that it would be possible to do backups with Azure Backup when you're using the Azure File Share. But how will you go about restoring data if a user deletes a file?
Yeah, you can do it right through Azure. Well, for a single file deletion, you can do that right through the portal. You can actually mount Azure snapshots just like you mount a regular drive. So an admin could go in and like mount that and like copy it over.
Sorry to interrupt you there, but I spoke with your support and they said that for restoring files above 10 gigabyte, that it would be absolutely useless to do it that way. You need some kind of other product for this, like, you know, you know, Veeam, they have this front end you use, and then you mount, and you restore. In my experience, it doesn't work with your product, the Azure Backup.
So I think we apologize that somebody from support told you that. I don't think our belief is that it's useless. I think our belief is that it works. I'd love to hear more detail, and we can maybe exchange like what your case number was and get followed up on how we make that right. I apologize that that's what you were told.
So, so you want me to restore from inside the Azure portal?
Today, yes. So obviously we agree with you that the experience needs to be better, because one of the things that people can do with lots of backup software, including you know, like DPM, is the ability to actually, on the file share, see this, the versions of the file in the previous versions tab. So this is definitely where we want to go with Azure File Sync, whether you're using Azure Backup or, you know, theoretically in the future using other backup options. And we'll talk more to that later on how we do that. We don't have that functionality yet, and I can't quite say how that will look like because we're still developing it.
Yeah, one thing with that is that if you mount the file share as an administrator with the storage account key, you would have like previous version support. Yeah. If you go directly to the Azure File Share, it's the end users that don't have the previous version support through Azure File Sync today.
Yeah, and so yeah, I was going to your point, like SMB, of course, has that previous versions as part of the protocol. They actually, I think, call that time warp internally. We support that with Azure Files, so you can see all of that.
Yep.
And when you have the ability to, you know, mount with your on-premises AD credential, you would see it just the same. So it's really part of SMB at this point, and then how we plumb this all through with Azure File Sync is still an open question.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Guys, excuse me, you might have already answered this one, but I kind of thought I had a little bit of a different wrinkle. So similar to the one gentleman over there before, we have Windows Server AD running in Azure IaaS with some file servers that are joined to that domain. We run AD Connect up to Azure AD. All of our PCs, though, are Azure domain joined, so they will not be joined to AD/DS. They will not be joined to server AD. Will that work, or is it just going to be you're going to have to provide your credentials at that point to?
So you do AD Connect with password sync?
We do, yes.
So yeah, this should work already. We think that you need the breadth of the community would also need the trust support. But if you're doing AD Connect with password sync, it should work.
Okay, awesome. Thanks.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Did you already?
Yeah, sorry. Let's go.
Go ahead.
Hi. We work with a lot of DNG files and DWG files, AutoCAD, MicroStation, and we're currently leveraging Panzura for global file lock. Is that something that you guys are looking somewhere on the roadmap to do a global file lock feature, or how close are we on that?
Yeah, that's a very common request. That is something that's on the roadmap. It's going to be further away. There's not within the 6 months or anything like that.
Okay.
Yep.
That was my question.
Oh, that was your question too. All right. All right. Well, we'll stick around here for a minute if anybody wants to talk up close and personal. Otherwise, thank you again for coming.
And I'll just I'll point out as well the alias. So if you want to send us email, feel free.